Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Baltimore and the Colts, a marriage between a city and its heroes, a love affair that lasted 38 years. Many have passed through Baltimore on their way to enshrinement in Canton. No one could have ever imagined that this touchdown would be the Colts' final points in Memorial Stadium as they abandoned Baltimore in the dead of the night. 60 years ago, Thomas Wolfe wrote, "You can never go home again." Today, we find out if the Colts can go home again.
Behind his blockers and coming down on the right.
After 14 years, the horseshoe returns to the city of Baltimore. Hi, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Mark May, and a lot of emotion involved in this game, Mark. The story really begins back in March of 1984. You think back, Robert Irsay, the late owner of the Colts, moving the team from Baltimore to Indianapolis today. They returned to Maryland for the very first time. And back in 1984, you were here in this area, a member of the Washington Redskins. What do you remember from that night?
As an athlete, it's one of those moments you never forget, because as a young player for the Redskins, first you see Oakland leave Oakland and go to Los Angeles. Now Baltimore just up the road leaving Baltimore. And as a player for the Washington Redskins, your next thought is, could it ever happen to us?
Well, it didn't happen to the Redskins. It did happen to the Colts. But these Baltimore fans, great football fans. There's never been a question about that. They've accepted the Ravens as their new team, but they have not forgotten about that fateful night 14 years ago when they lost their beloved Colts. We'll come back with the opening kickoff. Colts and Ravens here on CBS. A man that has a very unique perspective on this game, the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Ted Marchibroda, was the head man for the Baltimore Colts back in the late 70s. Former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts earlier this decade, now leading the Baltimore Ravens. And Jim Mora, first year as the head coach of the Colts. What's his connection? Well, he coached a USFL team here in Baltimore, the Baltimore Stars. In fact, led them to a championship.
And when he was here as a coach, the first thing he said to us when we asked him about it is, the fans here are wonderful. They play at the old Memorial Stadium here in Baltimore. He said the fans here are rabid. They will be into this game, and by the sound of them, they definitely are.
Colts have won the toss. Matt Stover kicks it off. Aaron Bailey will take it out. Bailey heading for the sidelines, and that's where the Colts will have the football at the 22. Tackle made on special teams by Donnie Brady after the 18-yard return. Peyton Manning leads this Indianapolis offense, the only quarterback in the NFL to take every snap for his team. Does have the 22 interceptions to lead the NFL. Manning only 22 years old, so he was just 8 years old when the Colts moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis. You will hear the boos throughout the afternoon. On a 1st and 10 from the 22. Manning working out of the shotgun to open play. Spreading the field and making the connection on the first play of the game to Marvin Harrison. So the Colts come out throwing. And a 10-yard gain on first down. Ray Lewis and Rod Woodson combining on the stop. The Indianapolis offensive line, Larry Moore, a rookie getting his first ever start in the NFL out of BYU. Tony Mandarich out with a lower back injury. Marshall Faulk leading the NFL in receptions, and don't be surprised if you see Ken Dilger lining up as a fullback quite a bit today. Just shy of a first down. It's a 2nd and 1 for the Colts. Marcus Pollard, the tight end, in motion. On the give for Faulk, he's got the first down. Oh! So Indianapolis going through the air on first down. On 2nd down, they keep it on the ground, and Marshall Faulk moves the chains. For Baltimore, the defensive line, Michael McCrary just having a huge season, 33 sacks over his last 33 games in the NFL. Linebackers, you're not going to find a better young group in the National Football League, led by Ray Lewis. And in the secondary, Rod Woodson Suffered from food poisoning earlier this week, but he says he's about as close to 100% as he can get for today's game. 1st and 10 from the 35. And flags come down before the play even gets going.
Tonight it appears it's going to be movement on the offense of the Indianapolis Colts. This is a situation you're playing in a hostile environment. They come out with a shotgun right off the bat. I understand that by head coach Jim Moore, but you've got to get your guys settled up front before you snap the football.
Our referee today, Johnny Greer. And you saw the movement from the Indianapolis offensive line. So they'll push it back 5 yards. Make it a 1st and 15 from the 30-yard line, our first penalty of the day. On the draw play, Marshall Faulk gets back to the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be 2nd and 10 coming up for Indy.
And the Baltimore Ravens defense, they want to pressure Peyton Manning. They're not sitting back on their heels. Those tackles, Saragusa and Jones in the middle, they want to rush upfield, but that's an advantage for the Indianapolis Colts because once they get 2 feet upfield, Marshall Faulk will take that ball in between the tackles straight downfield and get positive yardage.
Tom Moore, offensive coordinator, has some weapons to work with for this Indianapolis team, but they are a young group. On a 2nd and 10. First possession of the day. Manning straight back, a deep drop. Good protection. He throws into double coverage to Marshall Faulk, and it's ruled incomplete. Ray Lewis involved on the play, the middle linebacker with Peter Boulware.
And that's one thing about this Ravens defense. Talking to them this weekend, they told us Peyton Manning, he never eyeballs the second receiver. He always looks at his first receiver and he throws the ball there. So the defensive secondary, the Baltimore Ravens, will break on the ball as soon as Peyton Manning looks to his first wide receiver. Rod
Woodson also told us coming out of the draft he was not a big Peyton Manning fan, but he has been impressed with what he's seen on film in recent weeks. Third and 10 from the 35. Manning operating out of the gun. Stepping up and throwing. Finds Marvin Harrison for a big gain into Baltimore territory. And he's tackled just shy of the 35-yard line. 27 yards on the patch play. It's Manning to Harrison.
Good protection by the offensive line. Ken Dilger in the backfield protecting quarterback Peyton Manning on the blitz of Ray Lewis in the middle. But it was a nice crossing route, a good deep route by wide receiver Marvin Harrison. Right there, he finds the soft spot of the defense, catches the ball, and makes a move downfield. That's the key about Marvin Harrison. He's great after making a move after catching the ball and going downfield with it.
Marvin Harrison. In just his 3rd year in the NFL, he was shaken up on the play as he heads to the sideline. Manning will throw again over the head of the intended receiver, rookie E.G. Green. And Manning actually fortunate that that ball didn't come back the other way.
Well, not only that, the key to this game is Marvin Harrison offensively to throw the ball. Marshall Faulk is their #1 wide receiver, but Marvin Harrison is their deep threat. They need him in the game. Between Marshall Faulk and Marvin Harrison, that's 68% of their offense. So with him on the sidelines, he's got to go to younger players, rookie Jerome Pathan and rookie E.G. Green.
Green out of Florida State sets up by himself on the outside. On 2nd and 10 from the Baltimore 39. Manning checking off. Twin receivers to work with on the other side. On the handoff, nothing doing. Baltimore was ready for that run from Lamont Warren. No gain on the play.
And it's tough to run against this Baltimore defense. They do a great job, just over 100 yards a game. But Ray Lewis, the guy in the middle, led the entire NFL in tackles last year, 210 tackles, went to his first Pro Bowl. Dislocated his elbow earlier this year, but he's back to 100%. And in between that tackle area, you're not going to run the ball very effectively against Ray Lewis.
He's got the new contract. Lewis, the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. 4 years, $26 million. 8th play of the drive on 3rd and 10. Manning throwing underneath, and they'll come up well short of the first down. Lamont Warren making the catch. And it was Ray Lewis again in on the stop. So the football at the 35-yard line. And Mike Vanderjagt, the Colts kicker, will come onto the field to attempt a long field goal. We'll call it a 53-yard attempt. Vanderjagt has a big leg. Longest of his career, 52 yards. Gone. Snap couldn't be handled. And it goes through anyway. 53-yard field goal from Mike Vanderjagt. And the Colts take the lead here in Baltimore. We're back after this. Mike Vanderjagt, his career-long 53-yard field goal. And the Colts take a 3-0 lead on Baltimore. In fact, the longest field goal ever kicked against the Baltimore Ravens. And Vanderjagt will kick it off with Corey Harris and Patrick Johnson, the rookie, deep. Short kick. This will be Harris from the 15. Harris has an opening. Harris remaining on his feet across midfield. Corey Harris finally taken out of bounds. Well into Indianapolis territory, and it was Vanderjagt, the kicker, forced to do the honors on the sideline.
Terrific run back by the Ravens. What a kick returner has to do is follow his blockers up front, try to hit it straight ahead. He's following his lead blocker, gets a great block. Now turn on the afterjets as soon as you get by the congestion and take off running. The only person that can catch him is the kicker Vanderjagt, and he pushes him out of bounds. And Vanderjagt's no midget. He's good size for a kicker, a strong kicker, but the kicker's the safety valve on this. He has to make that return man change direction and get a hand on him so someone can make the tackle unless you make the tackle. Longest return of the season for Corey Harris, 55 yards. On first down, Priest Holmes gets the carry. Great field position for the Ravens to work with. They are inside the 30 of Indianapolis. Jim Harbaugh, former member of the Colts, and some emotions in this game for him going against former teammates. The offensive line led by perennial Pro Bowler Jonathan Ogden, having another big season for the Ravens on that left side. Holmes coming off a career day against the Cincinnati Bengals last week, 227 yards rushing. Michael Jackson is out of the lineup with a sprained foot. James Rowe getting the start. Harbaugh gets it away for Holmes, trying to create after the catch as he moves ahead to the 25-yard line and a gain of 2 on second down, setting up 3rd and 5. Tyrone Poole to tackle. Defensive line for the Colts. Who are these guys? Ellis Johnson remains from a line that is decimated by injuries. The linebackers also injury prone. Steve Morrison now playing in the middle. And in the secondary, the Colts, a team that has dealt with so many injuries. No Jeff Burris, a knee injury, so Monty Montgomery steps in for him at left cornerback. 3rd and 5. Harbaugh throwing, and it's incomplete. Could not make the connection to Floyd Turner, another former Colt. It appeared to have hit him on the numbers, and now decision time for Baltimore. When you've got that quick slant, that quick post pattern across the middle, you've got to take a little bit off, but you've got to get it over the hands of the offensive lineman in a hurry. Jim Harbaugh just takes 2 steps, plants, and puts the ball right where he has to in the breadbasket of wide receiver Floyd Turner, and he's got to make that catch for the first down.
Matt Stover, a 43-yard attempt. Stover looking for the tie. And he's got it. A pair of early field goals. And we are all knotted up at 3 in the first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. First Union, your guide to the financial world. And by Chevy S10, like a rock.
Back at Camden Yards, a sellout here in Baltimore today for the return of the Colts. Tied at 3 with 8:25 left in the first quarter. Aaron Bailey waits the Matt Stover kickoff. Stover tacking on 3 on the board with that 43-yard field goal, and Bailey will take it out of the end zone. Not a wise choice as he comes up short of the 20-yard line. Colts will have the football when we come back. 3-3, Indy and Baltimore. At 3. Coming up tomorrow on CBS, catch the new hit show that critics are calling the best new comedy of the year. It's Ted Danson like you've never seen him before. An all-new Becker tomorrow on CBS. Marvin Harrison, talented wide receiver for the Colts, is in the locker room getting checked out. His right shoulder Injury happened on the first possession of the game. Off of play action. Wide open Torrance Small. He fell down. Small able to get up and get some extra yardage. Rod Woodson was over there for Baltimore, but a 25-yard gain. The Ravens bought on the play fake, and Peyton Manning found Small.
That was an outstanding play fake. The entire defense of the Ravens went for it. Torrance Small just goes across the field to play, looking for an opening. He never stops and deviates, and there's two receivers that are open right there. Catches the ball, but he slips. This field is very soft today, very wet today. We'll talk about it later on in this game, but he could have taken off for a lot more yardage if this field was a dry turf.
Spot the football at the 43. Handoff for Falk with a head of steam. Marshall Falk brought down at the 40-yard line into Baltimore territory. A 17-yard run. Stephon Moore making the stop.
And Marshall Falk, he's got a shot at going for 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. You know, one other person, Roger Craig, has ever done that, and he's ahead of his pace right now by 80 yards, and he's running like a man possessed. This is a contract year for Marshall Falk, so he's got to have a big year if he wants the big money.
3 carries, 26 yards, averaging just under 9 yards per carry so far today. 1st and 10 from the 40. It's Falk again, running into a pile at the line of scrimmage. Okay. We'll see if they give him forward progress. It might be a loss of 1 on 1st down, and a host of Raven tacklers in on the play, including Tony Siragusa.
Siragusa gets great leverage down there. Big guy, 6'3", 320, and just bowls up the field and gets a good push. And they're not letting anything go on that line of scrimmage. Look at all those blue jerseys. There's no line of scrimmage. They created a new line of scrimmage in the backfield of the Indianapolis Colts.
Call it no gain on 1st down, so a 2nd and 10 from the 40. Shotgun formation again for Manning, and had plenty of time to work with, getting the ball to Marshall Falk. He got it across the 35-yard line and down to the 33, a 7-yard gain. Peter Boulware bringing him down. It'll bring up 3rd and 3.
And if I'm Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore, you know Marshall Falk is such a big part of this offense, and particularly when Marvin Harrison's out of the game, I put somebody on Marshall Falk at all times in this game to shadow him. Double him when it's a passing situation, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, because you know the first look by quarterback Peyton Manning is going to be to Marshall Falk.
And Falk continues to produce, tying himself for Kellen Winslow, best consecutive streak, catching the football to start a career. 3rd and 3, Manning flushed out of the pocket, throwing against the grain to Lamont Warren, and a 1st down for Indy across the 30. Peyton Manning, some good decisions so far today here in the 1st quarter.
He's done a great job of moving out of the pocket. Peyton Manning takes 3 steps back, shuffles when he gets that ball. Look at him, 1, 2, 3. Now he's going to work. He's going to shuffle, go to the left, find an opening, look back to the right, dump the ball off to a safety valve, and that's Lamont Warren for the 1st down.
Manning throwing the football, 6 of 8, 76 yards. Did not have a good performance last week against Buffalo after leading the Colts in a come-from-behind effort against the Jets the week prior. On a 1st and 10, Dilger in the backfield. Play action. Manning airing it out. He's got Pollard open. Marcus Pollard bringing it in, but he was out of bounds. It's incomplete.
And that's something new out of Peyton Manning. Rolls to the right, looks to the right, turns and fires back to the left. That's a new wrinkle from Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, to give him a new dimension to his game. And here's a close. Good ball handling by Marcus Pollard, bringing it in, but he's out of bounds.
So 2nd and 10 for the Colts from the Baltimore 29. You look at this Indianapolis offense, and they have talent at the skill positions. It is a young team, and they've gone through their growing pains this season. Falk by himself in the backfield. That's Small in motion, and we saw some movement on the right side of the Colts line.
Prior to the snap, 73, offense, still 2nd down.
It is Adam Meadows, the starting right tackle, as we got the word from Johnny Greer.
There's Adam Meadows, and all it is concentration. You're playing in a hostile environment. You know it's going to be loud. If someone cheats up on a line of scrimmage, just sit there and hold it and wait and concentrate, because you know the snap count, the defense doesn't.
So they'll back it up to the 34-yard line, bringing up a 2nd and 15 for Indy. Colts, though, have been able to move the football here in the 1st quarter. We're tied at 3. Play fake. Manning, very deep drop. Throwing the long ball towards the end zone. Falk is there. Marshall Faulk comes down with it. Touchdown, Indianapolis. A 34-yard pass play into double coverage. Wow.
And here's the ball. Great play action fake by quarterback Peyton Manning. Gets the defensive linebackers to step up. He looks to his left, looks them off, turns back to his right, and throws the ball in the end zone to Marshall Faulk. He's double covered by a Pro Bowler. Rod Woodson's back there. He out-jumps those guys and comes down with the ball. An outstanding play of concentration by running back Marshall Faulk.
A 34-yard touchdown strike. Peyton Manning now 7 of 10 throwing the football, 109 yards. And the Colts have opened up this first quarter with a bang. They've scored on both of their possessions as Vanderjagt adds the extra point. Indy leads it 10-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. Are you ready for e-business? And by DirecTV. What are you looking at?
Back in Baltimore, where the Colts lead the Ravens 10-3. Marshall Faulk, 34-yard touchdown reception. And Peyton Manning now 9 straight games with a touchdown pass. That is an NFL rookie record. The kickoff from Vanderjagt. Harris and Johnson deep, and this is Harris once again. Had a 55-yard return earlier. This one much shorter as he got across the 20-yard line. 19-yard return for Harris. Tackle made by Chris Hetherington. Here's a look at the catch again from Faulk in double coverage.
What's interesting, I said they had a double cover him. Well, he's double covered by 2 of their best covermen, Rod Woodson, a Pro Bowler, and the rookie Dwayne Starks. They're starting cornerbacks, but it's great concentration by Marshall Faulk of going up and attacking the football and coming down with a touchdown reception.
Indianapolis with a field goal and a touchdown in their first 2 possessions, and a 10-3 lead with 4:35 to play in the first. First and 10 for the Ravens from their own 24-yard line. In motion, Eric Green. Harbaugh on the handoff for Holmes. And brought down quickly at the 25, a pickup of a yard and a half. Time right now for an NFL Today report as we head to New York. And Jim Nance.
All right, Ian, check it out. 4th and 2 for the Jags, and Mark Brunell will go to the air and hit Jimmy Smith for a touchdown. Jacksonville on the board first there. And let's go back to you and Mark.
In that AFC Central, Jim, Pittsburgh losing on Thanksgiving, that wild game with the Detroit Lions, opens the door for Jacksonville to take a step towards the division title. And they lead the Bengals. 2nd and 8 from the 26. Play fake Harbaugh. Deep drop over the middle. Incomplete. Jermaine Lewis took a lick, and he could not hold on to the football. Tim Houck involved in the play for Indy.
And Tyrone Poole one-on-one on the outside with their best wide receiver, Jermaine Lewis, covering him like a blanket. Watch him break on the ball right there and tip it away. That's excellent play by a defensive cornerback one-on-one with a top-notch wide receiver. Good protection up front for quarterback Jim Harbaugh. He has a chance to set, look downfield, and fire the ball where he wants it. But just the quickness of Tyrone Poole getting in front of the wide receiver, Jermaine Lewis, to knock that ball away.
He's being their big play guy, Jermaine Lewis, averaging 19.7 yards per catch. That's 3rd in the NFL. On 3rd and 8, Harbaugh stepping up. Harbaugh looking to run. Comes up shy of the 30-yard line, shy of the first down, and the boos that were once reserved for the Colts, now for the Ravens from these fans.
That was an interesting play by the offense. The only 2 receivers that were down the field were wide receiver James Rowe and tight end Eric Green. And the defense had an easy job. They only had to cover 2. They dropped back in a deep zone and basically rolled coverage to both receivers. No chance for Jim Harbaugh to complete that ball downfield. He had to take the chance and run the football.
Kyle Richardson with the punt. Aaron Bailey waits. Brings it in cleanly at the 27. Trying to cut back as he moves ahead to the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Keith Washington on special teams after the 8-yard return. A 43-yard punt. Colts with the ball and the lead. Baltimore quarterback Jim Harbaugh spent 4 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts from '94 to '97, nearly leading Indy to the Super Bowl with Ted Marchibroda as his head coach. That Hail Mary pass against Pittsburgh. Ravens, though, with only 11 yards of total offense so far, and the Colts with a 10-3 lead. Just over 3 minutes to play in the first. Peyton Manning, he's been hot, and now he's down on the ground. A sack for Baltimore as Manning took a tumble. Peyton Manning in some heavy traffic, and Michael McCrary coming up with the sack. A Pro Bowl alternate last year. 12.5 sacks coming into the game, give him 13.5 to lead the AFC.
Michael Curry just coming around the corner, coming around the left side of left tackle. Tarek Glenn beating him to the outside and bursting to the back of Peyton Manning's legs for the sack.
4-yard loss, 2nd and 14. On the give, Marshall Faulk up the middle. Marshall Faulk, he's off to the races. Down the sideline, Faulk. He's gone. Touchdown, Indianapolis. He has been a one-man wrecking crew here in the first quarter. Second touchdown of the day. First via the air, this one on the ground.
And we talked about Marshall Faulk with a chance to go for 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. He may end up with that today if he keeps on this pace.
68-yard scamper for Marshall Faulk. And as we talked about how emotional this crowd was early on, especially when the Colts took the field, they are deflated right now. At the 2:29 mark of the first. Extra point from Vanderjagt. Are the Colts comfortable in Baltimore? So far they are. 17-3. Indianapolis. The longest ever touchdown run for Marshall Faulk, and Indianapolis takes a 17-3 lead.
Great job by the offensive line here and here, but watch Ken Dilger right there. He's a tight end in the backfield, gets the block that springs Marshall Faulk. He just cuts off of that block, makes a great cut there across the grain, gets blocking downfield by his wide receiving corps, and he's off to the races. And Marshall Faulk wanted to get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving this season. He may end up with that today. He's had an outstanding day. We're still in the first quarter, and he's over 100 yards in total offense, but he gets great blocking by the guys up front, and his great vision right there to see the cutback chance, and cuts back in front of Rod Woods, and he gets a great block on the outside by E.G. Green, the rookie wide receiver, and he's off for the touchdown.
5 carries, 94 yards for Faulk. 2 catches, 41 yards in receiving. Harris, the return to the 30-yard line. He lost the football. Baltimore able to get it back, and a flag on the play as Floyd Turner fell on it. 23-yard return for Corey Harris. We'll see what the marker is. It's against the Ravens.
And thus far in this game, the Ravens have really had the emotion taken out of them by the young Indianapolis Colts offense.
Holding number 37 of the receiving team during the return. First down.
And Mark, the talk here all week, we heard it on local radio and read it in the newspaper over the past couple of days. This is the biggest game in Baltimore Ravens history. The fans are saying that. Local media has said that to some degree. And so far, an early letdown against a team that has just 2 victories. Colts are 2-9, the Ravens 4-7. Colts yet to win on the road this season. They lead at 17-3. Priest Holmes nowhere to run. Bernard Whittington was ready.
Not only Bernard Whittington, but Ellis Johnson got tremendous penetration in the backfield. Before Priest Holmes had a chance to make his cut, Ellis Johnson was right in his face. And you can't let a defender get off the line of scrimmage without someone putting a hand on him. You've got to get a hit on him because the back does not have a chance if there's penetration on running plays.
227 yards last week rushing against Cincinnati. That is the highest single game total in the NFL this season. Holmes so far 3 carries, no yards. He lost 5 on first down. 2nd and 15. Harbaugh able to get it across the middle. And the catch made by Holmes, getting back some of the yardage that he lost and extending his body across the 25-yard line. A couple of yards shy of the first down, a 12-yard pickup on the pass play.
And talking to Ted Marchabrody yesterday, the reason why they like Priest Holmes is because of his work ethic. Came in last year, was a special teamer, had gotten better and better, hadn't had a chance in college to carry the ball or receive that ball that much, but got to the pros and they loved his work ethic. Came in this year, worked hard at training camp, they gave him a chance and he's responded.
Holmes going out and buying his offensive linemen TVs during the week. We'll talk about that in a moment. On the pitch for Holmes, trying to get to the outside, hurdling right at the marker. Will it be enough? Very close. Elijah Alexander in defensively to make the play.
He's got big Orlando Brown, 6'7", 350 pounds out in front. Look at him scoot. Look at those feet. Just throws down a defender, gets a chip on another one. But when you get a big guy like that who can run in the open field, he can cause some damage and get you some seams.
He had to get to the 30-yard line. And they come up short. 4th and inches. And the Ravens forced to punt. Ted Marchibroda's offense so far virtually non-existent. Aaron Bailey waits. The Kyle Richardson punt. It's a high punt. Bailey forced a retreat. Fair catch signal made as he brings it in at the 14-yard line. 57-yard punt for Richardson. His career long 64. So the Colts with a 17-3 lead. They have the football at their own 14-yard line. Chat live with 49ers receiver Jerry Rice this Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on America Online at keyword Team NFL and on the web at NFL.com. The Colts returning to the city of Baltimore for the first time since late owner Robert Irsay moved the team to Indianapolis back in the March of 1984. They lead this game 17-3. Marshall Faulk once again getting to the outside and getting into that linebacking and secondary core. Dwayne Starks, the rookie, making the tackle. And an 11-yard pickup for Faulk, giving Indianapolis a first down. That'll do it for the first quarter. And whether or not Ricky Williams is a possibility for them coming out of Texas. This is a 52-yard attempt for Vanderjagt, and it's blocked. Mike Vanderjagt, who had kicked one from 53 yards away earlier, the longest of his career, had a 52-yard attempt blocked.
And if you want a big play, you count on your veterans, and that veteran was Rod Woodson that blocked that field goal attempt.
17-3, Colts with a lead. Baltimore football when we return. Baltimore coming up with a big play, blocking a 52-yard attempt from Mike Vanderjagt.
Rod Woodson comes from the outside. No one touches him. Ken Dilger has to go to the inside for the inside rusher. Gets his left hand on the ball right there. It's tipped again at the line of scrimmage, but it was Rod Woodson coming up with a big play for the Baltimore Ravens.
And we'll see if the Baltimore offense can feed off of that big play. Play action for Harbaugh. His team trailing by 2 touchdowns. Comeback route, and the catch made by James Rowe. His first reception of the season. 17-yard pass play. Tyrone Poole with the coverage. Rowe, now in his 3rd year out of Norfolk State, getting the start for the injured Michael Jackson.
The Indianapolis Colts defense can't play soft. They can't play off the wide receivers. Just because they have a 2-touchdown lead, you cannot let a wide receiver get that much distance away from your defender, and defender Tyrone Poole has to stay closer to the wide receivers.
Ravens get their first down. Priest Holmes trying to get to the outside, and there's just nothing there for him. This Colts defense, about as bad as you can get against the run.
Yesterday we talked to Ellis Johnson, and I said it's like the last man standing. You look around this huddle, there's nobody that you recognize because of the injuries. And this defense gave up 187 yards last week against the Buffalo Bills, where the Ravens rushed for 247 yards against Cincinnati. So with 4 guys on the bench, you'd expect them to have some pretty good success running the ball against the Indianapolis Colts this afternoon.
Colts are ranked last defensively in the NFL. And against the run, they've been particularly poor. Harbaugh underneath. He is getting Priest Holmes involved through the air. Holmes making the catch for a pickup of 8. Andre Royal and Anthony Jordan combining on the stop. It'll be 3rd and 5 coming up.
And Priest Holmes just leaks out here, comes across the center of the field, and catches the ball in front of the 2 defenders. great concentration on catching the ball. But I really like Priest Holmes. I mean, he bought his offensive lineman color TVs last week. And
that's why you like him.
And I asked him, I said, well, what if you get another couple of 100 yards this week? What do you buy him, like big screen TVs or something like that? He just said, nah, I'm just making the NFL minimum here as a second-year player.
We got to hear about some of the gifts you got back in Washington. First down for the Baltimore Ravens. Floyd Turner bringing it in, the former Colt, brought down by Monty Montgomery, 14 yards on the play.
Just a crossing pattern on the outside by Floyd Turner. Talking to Jim Harbaugh yesterday, he said, keep an eye on Floyd Turner. Had a great work week this week in practice, and he's due to have a big game. Well, they've gone to him a couple times today, and he's just running a simple post, but he's got defenders dragging on him, getting that positive yardage after the catch. That's big for wide receivers, yardage after the catch.
Floyd Turner, Jim Harbaugh, Tony Siragusa, Roosevelt Potts, all former Colts now suiting up for Baltimore. Again, Priest Holmes just cannot find an opening. No gain on first down as Steve Morrison combined with Larry Chester to make the tackle. There's Siragusa. What a character he is. He told us, and this was something new that I had never heard, he wants to be a sports agent once he ends his playing career.
He's one of those guys who'll go to college and grab some of these guys around the neck and say, you're going to sign with me, aren't you?
I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be a general manager going against him, though, locked in a room at the negotiating table.
He'll get you the cash.
2nd and 10. And finally, the Ravens able to break one off as Priest Holmes squeezed through a hole for a 10-yard gain.
And I think it's just a matter of time that the size of this offensive line, as good as it is for the Baltimore Ravens, they average 6'5", 320 pounds. They're going to start to get a push on this defense. Here's a draw play. Ogden throws his defender to the outside. Look at the lane. There's no one there. He doesn't get touched until he's 5-6 yards down the field, but he keeps driving forward, picking up the extra yardage.
Holmes has had so much success against the Cincinnati Bengals. The question is, can he do it against any other team? He's got 400 yards in 2 games against Cincy. Harbaugh stepping up, and he is dropped. Just about at the line of scrimmage. Harbaugh, who is very dangerous when he puts the head down and decides to run the football. Bertrand Berry in on the stop. And no gain, maybe a half a yard on first down. It'll be 2nd and long.
Jim Harbaugh was looking for his tight end, Eric Green. He ran a deep post pattern, but the defense of the Indianapolis Colts had him covered. Tim Hawk, the free safety, and Jason Belzer, the strong safety, had him sandwiched between each other.
Call it 2nd and a long 9, just outside the 20-yard line. Harbaugh with 3 receivers to work with. Throwing underneath and incomplete. Eric Green, the intended receiver. So Baltimore had finally shown a little bit of rhythm offensively on this drive. Now face a 3rd and long.
It's almost you kind of get the feeling about this Baltimore offense that it's just going to take time for them to get better, and they're going to wear down this defense. A lot of no-names on that Indy defense, but a lot of young players getting opportunities on this Indianapolis defense.
I do think a lot of people felt Baltimore would be better than they are this season, though. It's been disappointing. They're 4-7. Had a tough schedule early on, and it really cost them. Out of the shotgun. 3rd and long. Harbaugh in stride, able to make the connection to James Rowe, and a flag comes down. Rowe came up short of a first down. We'll see what the flag is, as Elijah Alexander, who's been in there on passing situations, came up with a stop.
Holding, shifting on the defense, first down.
It is Alexander, and a new set of downs for Baltimore to work with.
And that's what you look for offensively, creating mismatches. Jim Harbaugh had it. Had wide receiver James Rowe was being covered one-on-one by Elijah Alexander. That's a mismatch. The wide receiver should win that matchup every time. Rowe's on the outside, makes his move to the inside, gets picked up by Alexander right there. There's the hold. He's got his left arm on his back. Then he grabs him for the tackle, but he had a hold of him on his back before the ball got there.
1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. Potts in the backfield with Holmes. Ravens trailing 17-3 here in the 2nd quarter. Harbaugh will throw on the slant. Touchdown, Baltimore. James Rowe. Came into the day without a catch. Now he's got his first touchdown of the season.
And you always look for heroes. He's going to come from the left side of the screen. He beats Tyrone Poole one-on-one, just gets in front of his face. Look at the distance between the cornerback and the wide receiver. You can't have that. When you're down on the goal line, close to the red area, you've got to get your hands on the wide receiver and disrupt their timing. And defensive cornerback Tyrone Poole never put a hand on him.
The point after from Matt Stover. And the Ravens are right back in it. Jim Harbaugh on that drive, 4 for 5, 53 yards, and Pater to James Rowe. 17-10, Colts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealers. Citizen is how the world tells time. And by Wendy's new Steakhouse Bacon Cheeseburger.
Baltimore football fans were certainly ready for this matchup. And they got themselves a beautiful day, unseasonably gorgeous. 69 degrees game time temperature here in Baltimore, and we've got ourselves a football game. 17-10, Colts in front. Aaron Bailey off the Stover kick. Bailey getting across the 20-yard line and down to the 23. A 17-yard return as John Williams made the tackle on special teams. Colts have the lead in the second. Baltimore finally showing some signs of life offensively. Now the question, can they stop Marshall Faulk on the other side of the ball? It's 17-10, Indianapolis.
Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, done an outstanding job with his defense despite their record. His name's being mentioned for some of the head coaching vacancies next year in the NFL.
And right now his defense has to buckle up and try to handle Faulk and Payton. 1st and 10 from the 23. Play action, Manning throwing a sideline route, and it's brought in by Torrance Small. Rod Woodson there with the coverage, but again Small able to get in front of the secondary and come up with the catch. Tomorrow on CBS, a man with 6 weeks left to live wants a radical treatment. Now, one doctor will take an unforgettable road trip to Mexico for a last-ditch chance at life. And all new LA Doctors tomorrow on CBS. 14 yards on the play to the 37-yard line. Second quarters have been a problem for the Colts. Lamont Warren in for Marshall Faulk, and a flag on the play.
Now, and the reason why Lamont Warren is into the game is because Marshall Faulk, after the last play, left the field limping, got up slowly, and left the field to play.
We have seen Warren quite a bit so far today.
Holding, 76, offense, still first down.
Steve McKinney, the starting left guard, rookie out of Texas A&M. And Faulk remains on the sidelines.
And he's got his hands full with Tony Siragusa across from him. He was called for the hold on Siragusa, but anybody playing against Tony Siragusa is going to have their hands full.
You see the numbers from Faulk, 6 carries, 105 yards. Does have that 1 rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. 1st and 20 from the 27. Blitz was on. Manning able to get it off. Torrance Small making something happen after the catch as he crossed the 40-yard line, got close to the 45, a 17-yard pass play.
The Indianapolis Colts are having a lot of guys step up, a lot of backups playing very well today. Torrance Small just comes across the field. It's a short little route across the field, makes a great jumping catch, and takes off to the races and slips at the end of the play. I talked about it earlier before. It is a very soggy field. It's very wet. Hasn't rained in the Baltimore area in 2 weeks, but this field, they put the water to this field last night before the game today.
We have not seen Marvin Harrison for Indianapolis since the first possession of the game. He went to the locker room with an apparent shoulder injury. Small has done the job. 4 catches, 80 yards. Warren remains in the game in the backfield. And the Ravens were ready. Michael McCrary leading the charge for Baltimore. Ellis Johnson now walking to the locker room. Limping is probably the better way to put it. And Johnson was one of the only familiar names left from that starting defensive unit that we saw week 1 for Indianapolis against Miami.
Not only that, are they going to have enough bodies to finish the game? In certain positions, they're so thin right now because of injuries. They're going with players they just signed off the street this week.
From 2nd and 3 to 3rd and 6. Manning from the shotgun. Has the time and has his receiver at midfield. It's Torrance Small once again. Dwayne Starks, the rookie, with the coverage. First down, Indianapolis.
And Indianapolis is getting away with running a lot of crossing patterns, a lot of in routes, and the Baltimore Ravens cannot seem to find a way to stop them. All the wide receivers are doing are going down the field 8 or 10 yards, and you're breaking across the field right there, getting a step on the defender and coming down with a reception.
Torrance Small, a 7-year veteran out of Alcorn State, played with New Orleans, played with St. Louis, signed as a free agent this season because of his relationship with Jim Mora, who coached him with the Saints. Doing a terrific job so far today. Airing it out, Manning on first down, and throws it too far. Small was entering double coverage with Woodson and Moore. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Indy.
And talking to Peyton Manning yesterday, he told us that they were going to go up top, over the top with the football and take their chances downfield. We've had Indianapolis a few times this year, and we've seen the development of Peyton Manning each week, each time we get him, and he's throwing the ball with much more confidence now, particularly deeper down the football.
And he's just more comfortable in every facet, dealing with the media, dealing with his teammates in the huddle, and obviously we've seen the improvement in his play throughout the weeks. 2nd and 10 from the 50. Marshall Faulk. A well-earned 4-yard run for Faulk as he got close to the 45-yard line. Woodson and Sharper were there to greet him.
I like what Tom Moore has done with this offense with the Indianapolis Colts. He's the offensive coordinator for the Colts. He's been around the league a long time, and he's been through a lot of players and a lot of teams, and he knows how to handle a young football team. The way this team has grown, and not only the way they've grown throughout the season, the way that they've produced today with a lot of backups and a lot of rookies on this offensive football team.
3rd and 5. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Colts leading the Ravens 17-10. Manning forced out of the pocket. He's on the move. Manning throwing on the run to Dilger. And a first down catch made by the Colts tight end. Dwayne Starks with the coverage. Peyton Manning showing his maturity here this afternoon.
And that's the growth we just talked about Peyton Manning. He gets pressured. No one blocks the rush from the outside. Runs away from the rush. He's smart enough now to feel the rush in front of him and from the backside. But instead of throwing the ball in where it can be intercepted, he throws it right to a safety valve, the tight end, Ken Dilger.
Peter Boulware applying the pressure. Manning eluding it. And a first down throw made. 2-minute warning.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by GMC Sierra, for those who demand more from a truck, and by Payne Weber. Thank you, Payne Weber, for the advice.
The Colts offense having a rather fun time here in Baltimore so far. On the season, just under 305 yards. That's their season average total offense per game. Today, 302 yards with 2 minutes to play in the first half. They've been in sync, and they lead it 17-10. Peyton Manning has been spreading the ball around. 6 different receivers have receptions so far today. Now a 1st and 10 from the 37. Faulk off the stutter step move as he crossed the 35-yard line and stumbled ahead to the 33. Michael McCrary making the stop.
It's a nice run by the tailback Marshall Faulk. Big Tony Siragusa is getting over the nose tackle a lot in their defense, and when they see that offensively, they want to get Marshall Faulk to the outside. But good blocking by his offensive line. Tarek Glenn at left tackle and Steve McKinney, the rookie, at left guard.
5-yard gain on first down. Faulk just adding to his already impressive numbers. And he does have 2 touchdowns. 2nd and 5 from the 32. Give for Faulk. Trying to cut it back inside, and this time Baltimore was prepared defensively. Comes up short of the first down. Colts take a timeout to stop the clock with 1:15 to play. First half, 17-10. Indy with a lead. Coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report, join Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and Michael Lombardi for all the scores and highlights, plus a look at how NFL teams celebrated Thanksgiving in their communities. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ Amex halftime report. Tony Siragusa, former Colt, thought it would be a lot of fun going against some of his former mates here today. Hasn't been that enjoyable for him and the Baltimore defense trying to handle Marshall Faulk. Colts facing a 3rd and 5. They lead it 17-10. Manning will throw. Wide open Faulk. And a first down inside the 25-yard line. Peyton Manning has just been on the money all day. 9-yard pickup. Sharper and Starks making the tackle. No huddle offense for Indy. Under a minute left. Airing it out and throwing it out of bounds. Stops the clock with 51 seconds to play in the second quarter.
And I still have to question Marshall Faulk out of the backfield, having a linebacker cover him. I know Jamie Sharper is an excellent cover man as a linebacker, but when you've got a Marshall Faulk, leads this team in receptions, you need to double up on him or you've got to put a cornerback on him and shadow him in this situation.
The Colts come in 0-5 on the road this season, including 4 blowouts of those 5 losses. They return to the city of Baltimore. And the offense has looked like a different unit from the one that we've seen quite a bit of this season. Manning, shotgun, quick throw. Ball knocked around and incomplete. He was looking to make the connection with Jerome Pathan, the rookie out of Washington.
Nice pressure by the defense of Baltimore. They come with a blitz in the middle of the field. That ball is catchable. Peyton Manning does a great job of just getting rid of that ball. When a ball hits a wide receiver in the hands, you should always come down with it. That's what they're taught. That's what they're coached. If you're touching the ball with your fingers, it should be a reception.
Now 3rd and 10. 46 seconds to play in the first half. Manning will get some extra time out of the shotgun timing pattern, looking for the end zone. Catch is made and a touchdown. Torrance Small. It's all smiles for the Indianapolis Colts. They have come into Baltimore and put on an offensive exhibition here in the first half.
And they're just having fun. It's a timing pattern. Torrance Small is going to go down the field and just run towards the post. It's called a skinny post. Peyton Manning throws the ball out there, hoping he beats the defender on the outside, which he did, and it's a touchdown reception for Torrance Small and the Indianapolis Colts.
4th touchdown of the season for Small. 18th touchdown pass for Manning as Vanderjagt adds the extra point. The Indianapolis Colts. The horseshoe is back in Baltimore, all right. Torrance Small stepping in for the injured Marvin Harrison. 6 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown as the Colts add to their lead. 24-10. Now in front of Baltimore.
And the blitz is going to come on Peyton Manning. He feels the blitz. There's a twist up front, but he gets rid of the ball in a timing pattern and drops it exactly where it needs to be. Torrance Small coming down with the reception. Beats the defender on the outside and gets in front of the deep zone and makes the reception.
Kickoff from Vanderjagt. Corey Harris, the return man from the 6. Baltimore needs a big play. Harris at the 50. Corey Harris finally dragged down at the 45-yard line by Bertrand Berry. 48-yard return for Harris. He had a 55-yard return in the first quarter.
Does a nice job of following his blocking, puts his hands on the ball, takes off, makes his cut. They make one cut as a return man. Now he follows the wall. Look at the wall. Right there, the blue jersey's in front of the white jersey. Just follows this guy's blocking him down the field. Nice return by Corey Harris.
And the Ravens will have an opportunity to maybe put some points on the board before halftime. Only 30 seconds left. Baltimore has all 3 of its timeouts. They will tack on 3 extra seconds. Johnny Greer instructing the game clock operator to change it to 33.
And this is a very important 33 seconds for the Baltimore Ravens. They've got to come out of this situation with some points. Field goal, touchdown. They've got to recapture that momentum they had coming into this game.
Line of scrimmage is the 46. Ted Marcher-Broda's club down by 2 touchdowns. 24-10. The former Colt, Jim Harbaugh, working out of the shotgun. Stepping up. Throwing the deep ball on first down. Incomplete. Intended receiver Floyd Turner And Harbaugh threw it a little long. Don't forget, the NASDAQ Amex halftime report will be coming up. Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and what do we call him, Mike Lombardi? I think we're close enough to say that. Scores and highlights, and a look at how NFL teams celebrated Thanksgiving in their communities. That's all coming up. The NASDAQ Amex halftime report. 2nd and 10 from the 46. 27 seconds remain in the second quarter. Once again, a shotgun formation. Colts crowd the line of scrimmage. Here they come. Harbaugh steps up and throws. Able to make the connection at the 40-yard line with Floyd Turner. Monty Montgomery with a tackle. After the pickup of 6, Ravens take their first timeout. They've got 2 remaining. It's a 30-second timeout.
And Floyd Turner just comes across the middle of the field. That's the open portion of the field all afternoon for both of these defenses. You're going to get the underneath stuff in this situation. The Indianapolis Colts, they're going to play deeper. They're going to play off the ball. They're going to give you those short routes underneath and tackle you to take time off the clock and give you the easy things. They don't want you to get anything deep, anything quick, a quick touchdown pass or a quick long gainer.
This is not the first meeting between these two teams. They met back in 1996 in October, Indianapolis with a victory over Baltimore 26-21. The big difference, though, that game was at the RCA Dome, and you didn't have the added element of the Colts returning to the city of Baltimore like this storyline that has emerged today.
And Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts.
Matt Stover getting ready for a possible field goal attempt. Time winding down in the first half. 20 seconds left. 24-10 Indy on a 3rd and 4. Harbaugh throwing. Catch made by Green at the 30-yard line, and a new set of downs for Baltimore as the Ravens take a timeout. They stop the clock with 12 seconds left. Jason Belzer making the tackle on Green. And now the Ravens with just 1 timeout remaining.
Did you see Jason Belzer trying to cover Big Eric Green? Looked like an NFL player being covered by a Pop Warner. Eric Green's 6'5", 285 pounds. Jason Belzer's only 5'9". He's got the coverage here, but look how big Eric Green is compared to Jason Belzer. You talk about matchups, that's the matchup you want. A guy that's bigger, that's taller, that's a little more physical. You'll find an area to drop that ball into a big tight end like Eric Green.
Just 12 seconds left in the first half. You know what? We'll get into this later on, Mark, but just one point. I believe if a team leaves a city, the nickname should remain with that city. And I know you can't change history now, and the Colts are always going to be in Indianapolis, but just going to whet your appetite for a conversation we'll have in the second half. 12 seconds left, first half. Harbaugh, shotgun. Throws it high in the air. Jermaine Lewis leaping. Bobbled the football, and it's incomplete. Rico Clark was there with the coverage.
The Colts came with a blitz, but Rico Clark one-on-one. He's got his hand on him right there. That could be a penalty. That's what the boos were for. But Jermaine Lewis kept his concentration and almost had not 1, but 2 chances at the ball. Right here, he's turning and facing the ball. The defender's hands on the ball, hits him in the chest, then he gets another chance at it when it bounces off his chest into his hands.
Ravens aren't going to waste any more time. They'll attempt a 47-yard field goal. Matt Stover's season long is 46. The kick is good. So the Ravens, after the long return from Corey Harris off of the kickoff, able to get into good field position and squeeze 3 points out of the possession. End of the first half. Indianapolis with a 24-13 lead on Baltimore. The NASDAQ Amex halftime report will be coming up after we pause for a word from your local station.